Alright, section 15, working with concrete. Composition of concrete tool storage, estimating, handling concrete foundation, laying walks and drives, problem sites, casting slabs, paving and steps, concrete floors, repairs, using precast, and building codes. The proper ingredients. Concrete is one of the least expensive of all building materials that's suitable with a wide range of use in and about with a home, and with the concrete is properly done, very durable. Concrete is a mixture of Portland cement, fine, amalgamated sand, coarse, aggregated gravel, crushed stone, and water. These ingredients carefully proportion all portions, resulting in a mix expressed in three numbers. For example, 1-3-4 mix means the concrete is 1 part Portland, 3 parts cement, 4 parts gravel. Portland cement is manufactured product with a given finer and flat layer of flour. It can be assured of the quality approved. The ASCM is printed in the bag. The cement must be free-flowing when it's used to keep dry with lumps and will form. If lumps will pulverize easily with a squeeze between the thumb and the finger, but do not use the cement. When Portland cement combines with water, it forms a cement paste, binds with the aggregates and the concrete. The paste makes up 25 to 40% of the total volume of the concrete. Standard Portland cement is great, but you can buy it with white Portland cement for use as such use as lawn ornament, flower pots, other decorative applications. All entertaining and training Portland cement contains an agent that forms a billion microscopic air bubble the concrete, but the air trained concrete hardens. There is virtually no scaling of kind caused by freezing and thawing salts and de-icing, and trained concrete should be used for the application and exposed to any of the conditions. Aggregates make up 60 to 75% of finished concrete. Important strength of the concrete, even the correct ratio, fine with the coarse aggregates. Fine aggregated sand will pass for the 1/4 inch screen. They should be clean and free of the foreign material. Clean and vegetable material matter in the sand will prevent the cement paste from bonding it with it. If you're unsure of the non-commercial sand test, is soak with the content with 2 inches of sand, quarter jar, and add water within the jar with 3/4 full. Shake vigorously for 1 minute. Let stand for 1 hour. Inspect the layer of silt on the top of the sand. If the silt layer is more than 3/16 of an inch and the sand is too dirty unless it is washed first. Do not use seashore sand and sand. It contains substances that will cause concrete to disintegrate. It does not use mortar with the sand particles in too small concrete. Dampers of sand must be considered to the moisture. Sand combines the cement with the amount of water to be used mixing concrete. If the sand is very wet, less water. Page 470. To test the sand moisture content, squeeze a handful with a deep well with a bullet only damp and leave with the very least moisture. Wet sand must be usually fine, kind of feels wet and leaves some of the moisture on the hands. Very wet, dripping wet leaves low moisture, a lot of moisture on the hand when it's squeezed. Coarse aggregated may either the gravel or stone, ranging from 1/4 inch to 1 1/2 inch. Bread earth should be hard and clean, free of the earth, and give it vegetable or organic material such as manure. You can order gravel by size of bank run. The gravel is several the size of the mixture to give it the plus the sand water of the mixing concrete should clean and free oil, acid, vegetable matter. The seawater should be never used and contain salts and harmful to the concrete. General rule is water fit to drink is all the way making concrete. Tools for concrete. The use of holding collection includes some of the tools needed with the concrete. You can work with a wheelbarrow for mixing small batches of the handling, with a bucket with a mixture of the cement with the aggregated water content, with a measuring water, adding the mixture of 50-foot steel tape, handling wet concrete cracks and skins, so the waterproof gloves and boots. There are other concrete special tools if you will have the buy or will make wood float to have the concrete give the rough surface finished. Steel finish trowel to give the concrete smooth hard finish. Grover, a joiner to cut joints between slab edges to run off the edge of the concrete slab. Trowel to place the mortar on the blocks. Square pointed shovel to mix the place on the concrete. Strike off board straight edge. Remove the excess of the concrete. Bring surface to the grade using an unwarped 2x4 large enough to extend 6 inches beyond each side of the slab. Bull float to smooth the level of surface from 1 to 4 foot 8 inch piece of the 1 inch board using bottom broom handle and 1 inch style for handle. Mason line blocks and pins to lay concrete block level to plumb in a line 4 foot spirit level to obtain true horizontal vertical lines on path foundations and walls. How to store raw materials. Always store cement in the dry places. It's vital to store bags of the platform of at least 4 inches of airspace below. With stack the bags then close together to give it additional protection, covering over the bag completely and cover the bag in a large sheet of plastic. Keep the cement away from the other parts of the lime and plaster might with contaminate. If you must store the open bag even in a short time, close the bag securely, put it in a sealed plastic bag. Store fine coarse aggregate separate with a clean hard surface. It must be stored with them next to each other. Place the wooden barrier between them pipes, piles outdoor, cover the plastic sheeting pile with the aggregated must be left for the roadway, post red warning flags around them, and the daytime red warning lights at night. Estimating. The first step of estimating how the concrete, we can either calculate each of the square feet. The structure will cover the dimension of the space to determine the square footage for the plane. You have to write with a multiply the square footage as to the thickness of the feet with the plane structure. The result of the whole volume of the concrete require express concrete cubic feet. Convert the number of the cubic yard of the unit which the concrete calculates over divided by 27 with the number of cubic feet in the 1 cubic yard. For example, the 4 thick inch concrete at 25 by 15 feet would require 4.63 cubic yards of concrete. 25 times 15 and 1/3 4 inches is 1/3 foot equals 125 cubic feet is divided into 27 equals 4.63 cubic yards. How to mix for the job. Before ordering material for the concrete project, you have determined what mixture for the proper job of the table. The right list of the mixes suitable for the most amateur concrete work. Know the precise amount of the water specified to each of the mix. Before sure that the exactly the water cement with the ratio. Determine the strength of the cement with the paste with the bonds with the aggregated together. The much of the water will make the paste thin and the concrete weak and porous. Too little will make the concrete too stiff. The workplace in position ready to mix concrete in project. If you project calls for a cubic yard of the more concrete, you can prepare it a mixture by ready to mix as preferred. Ready to mix is usually more convenient, more economical. Ordering ready mix concrete, make sure that specify the following. 1. Maximize size aggregated. The coarse aggregated should not exceed 1/3 of the slab thickness. Minimum cement content usually with 6 bags of the concrete per cubic yard for CRs. Yet for some jobs, however, such footings and foundations can be 5 cubic yard bags per cubic yard. Maximum slump. The slump is the rough measure of the concrete consistent workability. Order slump that does not exceed 4 inches. Load bearing capacity of 28 days should be no more less than 3,500 pounds per square feet. 5. Entrained air content 6%. All entrained air is required durability of the concrete will be exposed to freezing, thawing conditions, de-icing, salts. Mix it yourself for jobs require less than a cubic yard. Mix your concrete yourself with even more than a few cubic feet. But you will find with a convenient, efficient, if you use a mixer that may be rented in most areas. For mixing small jobs, require with a few cubic mix of the concrete by hand. Ingredients separate with a mix them. Use a pre-packaged dry mixture contains ingredients except for the water. Quality dry mix meets standards specified with the ASTM. It can come as bearing bags printed stamped with the product complies ASTM C387. Since the hand mixing non-vigorous enough to make it in air and trained concrete, do not mix concrete with exposed freezing and thawing de-icing salts. Handling concrete mixing. When you're mixing in a hand-on mixer with the amount of water you add the mix of depending on the great deal of the wetness of the sand after you have the set of the concrete mix going to you would never change the ratio of the cement, sand, and the gravel. Mix should be mushy but not soupy. Stick it together without crumbling. If too dry, little water. Add water, cement, and aggregate the proportion started with the mixture. After mixture is all in the ingredients correct proportion, follow the procedure. 1. Mixture stop loaded with the core for the aggregate. Half the water. Use the air entrapping agent mix the part over the water. Since the amount of the agent depends on the brand, follow the manufacturer's direction. Easier, more dependable way to make air entrained concrete Portland cement that contains the air entrained agent. Stir the mixture running, adding cement, and rest the water. Continue mixing them 3 minutes until all the material is thoroughly mixed in the concrete uniform color. Place it in finishing and curing. The dry material of the concrete settled with the bottom of the force of the water. Believe the surface of the end of the work done. Surface of the concrete has water present when it's caused scaling or dust. Placing, striking off the bowl floating must be done before water. Believe the surface of the edging of the joint and floating. The trowel must be done after all such water is evaporated surface. Planning a secret to successful concrete work before you mix concrete, taking a delivery to ready mix, prepare the surface you are going to cover, have forms of place, have the tools in the hand, a helper or two, to have ready mix of the unloaded with the directive and the forms. Always place concrete near the final position as possible. Do not dump the concrete widely separated piles, rig them together, dump each succeeding load against the previous one. Never place concrete with the frozen ground on the mud ground covered with standing water. If the ground is extremely dry, damp, and it won't absorb water with the mixture, start in placing the corner of the shovel of the square end of the concrete. Do not use the garden rake or hose. They separate coarse aggregated with the rest of the concrete mix. Striking off. A screeding brings the surface of the correct elevation. Place the strike board, force the spade 467 across the edge of the form of the screed. Move it back and forth, sawing motion to remove the excess concrete to fill low spots. Bull floating immediately after striking, leave the bull float, page 467, on the leave of the ridge, fill the voids for the left to strike off the board, embedded with the course aggregated slightly below the surface. Finishing can begin when the until the water sheen leaves the surface of the concrete, stiffens slightly with a waiting period with the absolutely essential if you're with the growing durable surface. On cool, dry days, waiting time can be several hours. On hot, dry, windy days and periods is short. There may be no waiting in the air and training in the concrete. Edging immediately after bull floating, run the trowel between the concrete side floats for the depth of 1 inch. For this waiting till the concrete has enough of the shape of the edge of the page 467 and run back and forth with the concrete inside forms. Joining after edging the groove of the cut with the counter joints 4 to 5 feet apart with the sidewalk 10 to 15 apart with the floor drive and patios. Cut a joint down center 10 feet longer slabs. The joint control the location possible cracks using 1x10 as a guide. Run over the groove across the slab to turn it around and run it back the opposite way. Floating embeds larger aggregated just below the surface level of the humps of wood with the bring of the time of the float with the surface of swinging in a sweeping arc. Wide floats produce the rougher finish of the metal float with the U of the aluminum magnesium float air and trained concrete. Troweling produces a smooth, hard furnace if it does not done immediately after floating. For the first troweling, hold the seal of the trowel with the flat against the surface of the added troweling. Additional trowelings will make surface smoother and harder. Beginning second troweling, when your hand is pressed against the surface, leaves only a slight impression. Tilt, leading the edge of the trowel upward in time. Brooming. Pull a damp, stiff brush of broom over the floated surface to produce a non-skid flush. Finish. Curing. Keep the concrete moist, warm with a hardened grate. Increased strength of the durability. Curing time of 6 days is insufficient with the average slightly variation. Warm weather 5 days. Cooler weather 7 days. You can cure concrete by any of the following methods. Seal surface with a plastic sheeting. Waterproof. Seal the coverings with the joints. Lay the flat. Anchor them in the edges. Cover the concrete with a burlap and canvas. Keep it constantly wet during the current curing period. Keep the concrete moderately moist with a lawn sprinkler or soaking hose. Spray the pigmented curing compound on the damp concrete. Essential coverage. Completely curing compound should not be used in late fall of the northern United States or Canada because they may prevent proper air drying, which is needed to resist de-icing salts. Foundations. Placement of footings. Footings are must be rest on undisturbed soil below the frost line. Placing the footings in slightly dampened soil to be sure that the soil is not wet. Depth of the footings is not acceptable below the grade specified agencies. Federal governments vary widely depending on the surface of the divergent factors for the depth of the frost penetration, soil condition, local holding, building custom experiences, whether or not the area of the earthquake zone. Certain parts of Florida, example footings are needed only 6 inches below the grade, but in some parts of Maine, they must be 4.5 feet under the surface. Local building regulations sometimes differ from the national requirements. Check the local building code. In cold climates, crowned with bed slab without footing is used. The other outbuilding slab is laid with a thick bed of gravel is shown. Heaving caused by front raises the entire surface as a unit. Type of the footings. Among the most common use of the common concrete footings is a flat top, which looks at a small slab tube with concrete circular piers and column. Flat top fittings can be perfectly across the top of the head of the key joint with a concrete foundation wall is placed. The first of these types of flat top use of the foundation made with the concrete blocks. Frequently poured concrete wall as well. Make a keypad footing at least 2x4 on the edge of the top of the footing. Concrete. Remove it as soon as the concrete is set. Concrete pilers sufficient diameter are used at 12-inch. Consider the both foundation footing and no additional footing beneath. They are spaced around the perimeter structure under the interior construction, as local building codes specify. The dig posts and holding laminated fiber forms, fill forms with concrete. Establishing building lines. First, determine the front line with which the outer face of the foundation wall of the front of the structure. Locate the line with the measuring carefully from the property of the line. From the existing structure the line, 2 temporary strike driven into the ground. Mark the front line. Check with your plan. Locate one outside corner foundation wall. Drive the stake with the mark of the point. Draw with the nail with the exact center of the top of the stake. The next measure for the temporary front line for the spot with the other side of the corner of the front foundation. Wall should do. Drive the stake with the point and draw with the nail of the center of the stake with the exact line of the foundation of the line between the 2 nails. Strip of the line between the 2 front corners. Stake set of the other 3 sides of the same way. After the building lines have been laid out, click the measurement against your plan with a square over the rectangle distance between the rear of the stakes. This will be the same between the front stakes. The diagonal will equal. Corners will be located where the lines are outside the surface of the intersect. Check with the corners to be sure of the exact 90 degrees. Measure 3 feet one direction from the corner, 4 feet right angle in the first direction. The corner square with the diagonal must be measured 5 feet. And one check with the line angle with the larger builder square. Batter boards. Before you excavate the footing of this formwork in order to provide working space, you will have to remove the building layout structure, stake, drive, and mark with the building lines to preserve the building lines. Set up batter boards about 4 feet beyond the building layout stakes far enough to stake with the excavation of the distrib of the batter boards. Excavating and adjoins the new side of the previous batter boards being set around the ground. Fix flat boards to the wall to make the batter boards. Give it a 2x4 with a stake with a 1x6 with a cross piece along the top. Set the right angle of the batter board with the cross piece slightly above the top of the foundation. Each corner make the boards approximately level with each other. The straight line each of the batter board. Plumb bob determine whether they intersect directly over the nail of each layout with the drive of the nail on the top of each of the cross pieces with the correct location. Building lines with the nails in place so you can locate the exact corner structure even when the layout stakes have been dug up. All you have to do is run the lines from each nail of the corner with fire directly under the spot where the lines intersect. Excavation framework. Excavation. Set out the stake with the mark of the boundaries for the footings with the remove of the lines with the laid batter board with the remove of the loose turf of the debris from the ground with the footings will rest on. Building on the form with a double-headed nail with the easy for the remove of the regular nail would be with the nail with the root of the shape with the into of the form with the using the old crank case of oil tube of the form and the surface of the oil top of the concrete. Footing frame forms. After excavating, replace the line of the batter board. Locate the corners again. Make their position. Stake with the bottom of the excavation. Drive with the numbers of grades to take with along with the foot line level with the corner stake. Set up the outside of the first to make the top of the level of the grade stake with a 3-inch of the inch plywood, 1-inch board with the form of the bowl, and held them in place with a 2x4 with the ground into the ground every 2x3 feet with a 1x2 with along with the footing with every feet with along with the length of the spacer to become feet. Forms a part of the located with the correct position from the inside of the form. Remove the corner stake with the ground stakes, grade stakes by placing the concrete. Remove the spacers in the place of the concrete. Alright, wall forms. Use 3-inch of an inch plywood with a 1-inch board with a side form support with a 2x4 stud with a 2 feet with a 2x4 braces stud is shown on the floor of the wall higher than 4 feet with 2x4 brace horizontally instead of the forms together with a soft iron wire. Drill holes in the form and with a couple of length with a twisted wire with a 2 wire with a twisted and form and the X across the walls with a 2-foot interval with the removing forms cut off the wires ends with the outside. Keep the inside outside of the board with the proper distance 1x2 with space with the wall with the exact width with space within 2 feet with power. Move spacers as you are placed with the concrete wall 4 feet higher than the knee with the tie with the spaces above with the 2 feet with the between the top and the bottom of the form. Building a wood box in the form and allow the opening such of the basement window of the foundation wall of the fastened seal of the wood foundation wall with the 1/2 inch and the anchor bolt with the 8-inch wide space inside of the bolts are 4 feet apart with the concrete headset of the foundation with the concrete block install bolts 18 inches long and cords filled with concrete. Page 483. Lay walks and driveways. Preparation soil with where you plan with the walk and the drive with the firm compacted the concrete directly to your ground with the distributing the soil with the as possible to dig out with the grass and we would level it off with the bumps to roll to provide smooth with a hard base. If the soil is properly drained with the water soak with the must be lined with the live with a 4 to 6 inches base of the sub gravel the crushed stone with the compact thoroughly with the parts of the few Soft spots. If you're laying concrete with existing concrete base with a track to break up the cracked base, compact rubble with a roller. Otherwise, new slab will almost certainly crack or scale. Make forms with 2x4 walks for the 2x6 drives. Support forms every 3-4 feet with 2x4 12-inch long. Oil the form from surface will touch the concrete in order to prevent sticking. Provide a slope at least 1/8 of an inch per foot with the width for the carry off the surface of the bar. You can make one edge of the lot lower than the other, more crown and center by using concave striking board. Slope must always be away from the building. Concrete driveway should be 6 inches thick and be used 6 inches thick if used in heavy trucks, 4 inches for cars and light trucks. Most sidewalks are 4 inches thick, but check your local building code. When the heavy trucks cross the walk, make it 6 inches to control cracking. Cut control joints every 10 feet in the drive, every 4 feet, and 4 to 5 feet in the walk, or install wood joints as shown on the next page. Use a 1 by 2.5 by 3.5 inch mix for the walk and drive used in the air and entrained concrete cold climates. Alright, problem site casting slabs. Concrete along walls. If you lay with a walk alongside of the wall of the building, you cannot strike off the board with or without the handle with the cross of the width of the solution. Lay with the concrete with the alternate bay with the compacting level of the body with the U strike off board lengthwise between and stops. When placing frameworks, insert the strip of the 1/2 inch thick asphalt impregnated with the fiber material of the form of the expansion joint between the wall and the slab. Whenever the slab abuts the curb, foundations or steps, slope walkway over the walk of the 1/4 inch per to carry out. The surface of the wire laying on the first bay to make sure the divider of the form is firmly placed where they cannot be displayed for the pressure of the concrete. Leave the divider forms in place while the concrete hardens. Remove the fill of the empty bays, and while all of the concrete thoroughly hardens, the sides forms can be removed. Slope and curved side with an unsteep slope with always shorter space between the divide form of the curved walk of the driver makes form with a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch plywood hardwood. Using 1x4 soak with a 1x4 makes it easier to bend the support that it takes and closer to doing the 3-foot spacer using straight forms. First slope may be steep. There may be danger of water entering the building after the guttering has been made. The illustration below, such a situation, small curb dam sill. A long slope may require more than one such diversion point, such as space them about 30 feet apart. The slope is long and curved pitch along 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch per foot toward the shorter side. How to cast slabs. Home cast slabs are suitable to patio walks, usually 2 inches thick. The form work of 1.5 inch deep slab thickness, allowed with a 1.5 inch sand bedded pour concrete. The sand base make easier to lift the slabs after they have been hard and dampen the sand bed before placing the concrete. Use 1 2.5 by 3.5 mix air and train concrete. Concrete forms strike off bull float, run edger along the forms of the round off the sides of the slab. Use the wood float to produce a textured surface. Rough skid resistant surface that can be made by dragging a stiff bristle broom over the concrete after troweling. Alright, making steps of the paving slab. With the paving slab with the most excellent tread with the garden step with the riser pad with the breaks of slab with the homemade slab with you that can be exactly required step with the by slab with the texture preventing slipping in the weather. Plan your step so that each tread with the part that is walked upon at least 11 inches of the front to the back, but make the vertical part no more than 7.5 inches high, allowed with a 1/4 inch height pitch for the drain with each for the tread. Cut out of the rough outline of the step of the take, and do not disturb the rest of the soil of the finish for the cutting of the work or the progress support of the rise for the first step of the dig of the 4 inch deep, the same width as the step filled with the trench for the concrete, provide the screwing footing of the 1-3-4 mix, the cold climate to make sure the air trained concrete. When the concrete is hard and lay small slabs over the bricks from the bottom rise of the bed into the mortar with the made 1 masonry cement 3-part sand firm the level soil behind on the riser. You the same mortar mix the slab from the bottom tread and the front with the protrudes 1 inch beyond on the riser back with the tread over the next riser. The steps go to the face of the bank side walls prevent soil from washing onto the steps when it rains. Planning concrete floors. Planning and preparation. Check your own building code requirement regarding floor design, construction base over the drain, the compact layout of the floor directly on the soft soil loose of the relieve the dig with the lay the sub base 4 inch of the crushed stone with 1 inch sand. Compact the sub base thoroughly slope concrete drainage basements on floors slope the drain toward drains garbage garage floor toward the garage door. Obtain the uniform floor thickness slope over the subgrade of the under the floor to keep the base of the garage floor from holding of the footing for 1 inch sand over the top of the footing before placing the concrete. Provide ducting of the pipe cables below the slab to slide forms dry by 2 by 2 for the ground with 8 inches, making the top flush with the surface. Install vapor barrier high polyethylene sheeting over the base after driving the stake. Overall, the joints of the sheeting of the 4 inches run the vapor barrier over the wall, full height of the floor, running the first course above the grade of the masonry wall. Use 6 inches 2 by 4 side forms after laying the vapor barrier. Attach the side form driving nails, 1/2 only half-inch stakes. Side forms instance as you need support the surface strike off board. They merely tacked off a stake that can be removed without difficulty. Separate floor walls to the 1/2 inch thick of the isolation joint made of asphalt impregnated material. Isolation joint same thickness should also be put around the seal drain alley columns. Make garage basement floor inches thick, 1 and 2.5, 3.5 inch concrete mixed by 2 by 4 slightly shorter in the width of the room and the striking off board. Prevent crack spacing of the control joints, page 2471, by 10 feet apart. Make them groover the cutting of the joints so the fit 1/5, 1/4 deep as the floor. Always walk all the way across the slab. Finish the surface when the cover with the polyethanol sheeting and let the cure for 6 days. For a smooth surface that can be painted when tiles are being applied. Finish the concrete steel trowel. Alright, damaged walkway driveways. If the damage is not extensive, you can use any patching compound, latex, vinyl, epoxy. Following instruction comes with the following. Bigger jobs, however, the too expensive, the faster run, the remove the repair most extensive, the damage. Try make for the gravel to mix concrete. Make your own staff picks, 1 Portland cement, 2 part sand, and 2 part fine gravel. Surface to prepare. Chisel off the loose of the broken fragment of concrete with a depth of 1 inch. They use the chisel thoroughly roughen the base of the cavity. Wear goggles, undercover the edge for the damage of the wire brush. The surface to wash out all loose particles. Surface to patch for the damp when it's wet, so the sponge any of the water remains contained. The surface to thicken the creamy mixture. Portland cement filled with cavity patching with the waxing creamy mixture to dry. The tamping with the patching with the firmly overlying cavity. Slightly to allow the trinket smooth with the patch lightly with the wooden flow with the concrete begins to stiffen with the wood flat with the steel trowel latch. Let the patch for 6 days to keep the traffic away from the during that time. Cracks must be similarly cleaned out, undercover the damp and filled with the surface of repair. Large section of walk of the driveway has been cracked, damaged. It must be removed and replaced by the new concrete. If the crack is too narrow to take gravel, you can use mortar made 1 part cement, 3 parts sand. Uneven flagstone on the crowbar sturdy, stay pry open one end of the slab to having avoid heavy slab slip, broomstick length pipe of the raised edge of the roll the slab, clear the slab, laid on sand, level surface of sand is needed. If the laid is damp, the mortar, replace fresh mortar, always tamp the foundation, fill the spots with the sand, gravel, remove the roots and with the other obstructions that cause the flags to tilt, fill the area with the occupied gravel to tamp solidly. Alright, cracked walls. Use the gold chisel to remove all the loose material with the depth of 1 inch. Undercover the air with beneath the surface of the brush out of all the dust. Thoroughly dampen the air with the patch of the base of 1 part masonry cement, 3 parts sand. Fill the crack completely. Smooth the surface and cure with a 3 stay with the repair cracks of the joint and remove the parts of 1/2 inch deep. The repointing. If the cracks are severe, continually large despite repair efforts, seek professional advice. Damage steps. To repair crumbling straight edge chisel V-shaped section of the reach the concrete, brush away loose material, the damp and expose the area. If the tread nose of the flushing of the riser, place a form board against the riser shown with the tread nosing, extend with the beyond of the riser from the form of the reinforcing patch, coat hanging wire, paint V-shaped the area with the cement paste, filled with mortar, 1 part Portland cement, 3 parts sand, finish. Cracked floors, prepare patch floors with a well-cracked mortar with a 1 part cement, 3 parts sand. The crack is filled with the surface of it should be slightly larger surrounding floor. After 48 hours, grind the patch around the floor surface of even a brace of sand, stone or stone coarse emery core of brickwork. Dusting appears to fine pounded concrete slab with a crack with a commercial concrete sealer with a scrub of the 2 or 3/3 of the solution, 1 part sodium silicate, 3 parts water. Apply either remedy to clean the dry slab. Painted here wells to the concrete tread of silicone sodium silicate. Alright, stucco. Stucco mix. To fill cracks with a patch of large area of the dry mix, more over the which of the only add water over the make the mix of the 1 part masonry, 3 parts sand. The stucco will give you reliable and firm enough to stand with a pile. You may color stucco by adding mineral pigments to the mortar of the final coat of the mixing sufficient to provide a uniform color. White cement is available. The pigment added, but it should never be the total of more than 5% of the weight of the masonry cement of the pigments added to the stucco of the patch will shade pink, yellow, and green. Mending cracks, using the knife spatula, open them with the cracks, sound stuck over the hammer and cold chisel with the edge of the crack wide over the inside with the surface forming key lock in new stucco. Brush away with the material to dampen the crack with a putty knife, trowel with the packing the stucco that's in too tightly, the crack extend with the through of the stucco over the brace, overflow over the crack slightly, let the stucco dry 15 minutes, work it down with the trowel approximately the level of the surround with the moisture cured deep crack with the dampening with a fine spray with the garden hose with the owens for the morning, once of the night with 3 days. Patching stucco with a large section of the stucco wall the damage, remove the stucco down on the bare wall, surface the concrete with a clean clay masonry surface before stucco on the clay tile with a brick surface with a raised out with a 1/4 inch mortar with the joints of the key with the first go wire brush surface with the wash in thoroughly smooth with concrete which should be wire brush chipped with the rough and wear safety goggles to protect the goggles from during these all operation. Open frame wood construction, stretch wires across face of the set of horizontally 6 inches part of the nail, waterproof the building, paper that's over the wire with the galvanized nail over the lead pipe with at least 3 inches. Place the wire mesh stucco near the over the building, paper the nail with the stud of the nails for the key with the 1/4 inch in between the reinforcements of the galvanized rust resistant nail staples. Do not use the aluminum nail to react chemically to cement. If the wood frame is sheathed, cover the sheathing waterproof the building paper to apply with the metal reinforcement. Keep it inferred over the 1/4 inch of the building paper. Never apply stucco to the surface that contains frost at any time when the temperature is likely to fall below its freezing. Stucco is usually applied within 3 coats. If the base of the masonry concrete, 2 coats sufficient, especially in hot and dry climates. And in this case, the base coat is approximately 3/8 of an inch thick, and the finished coat with 1/4 inch thick. First, scratch the coat, which should be about 1/2 inch thick, should be pushed through the mesh in the curve of the metal reinforcement completely embedded in the stucco to dampen the moisture of the concrete with apply with a fine spray with a garden hose before applying the scratch coat. Place a liberal amount of stucco on a hawk, page 448. Tip of the hawk orders edge of the downward. Use the seal trowel with the 467 and scrape the stucco off the hawk onto the trowel. Will be almost upside down and the mixture scraped off the 2x4 strike off board 467. Assuming the first coat with the firm and is not hard to scratch off the horizontal ridge, this provided the key for the second coat with the drive of the rows of the nails through the board to make a scratch. Use a piece of the reinforced mesh. First, second brown coat is applied to, and the first coat is set enough to carry out the weight of both the coats. They usually take about 4 to 5 hours in hot, dry, windy weather. It will be soon cool weather later. But if the open frame with the construction of the scratch coat must be at least 48 hours before the brown coat is applied. Keep scratch coat most occasional fine spray water you are ready to apply with the brown coat. Dampen the scratch coat just before you can start to apply the brown coat. Make the brown coat about 1/8 of an inch thick, usually 3/8 of an inch thick. Even the traded to smooth it, float the brown coat to provide good bond of the finished coat with the moisture cure of the brown coat for at least 48 hours. Let it dry for at least 5 days, preferably longer, before applying the finished coat. To make the finished coat with at least 1/8 of an inch thick. Don't begin moisturizing, curing the finishing coat until the day after application. Fog spray very lightly. Garden hose do not saturate. Continue moisture curing in the full day. Yes.
That big box.
Alright, using precast concrete. What you can buy, a wide variety of ready-made precast concrete units available with the concrete product manufacturers. They are made to standards that are difficult to and impossible to match for the do-it-yourself method. Precast paving slabs of the patio walks, as example, save of the amateur with a great deal of the work of the least liable with the chip and crack of the slabs. made at home. Other precast include septic tanks, linnets, sills, splash box, benches, bird bath steps, roof tiles. Most widely used precast concrete units, however, are blocks. Hollow core concrete, 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 inches thick, are standard with load-bearing walls. Addition special purpose blocks are wide, various sizes, shapes, colors. Split block, rough face, resembles stone. Slump bop looks more like an adobe screen. Grill blocks, among the most popular precast concrete units, provide primary, still admit sunshine, air. Screen blocks are widely used in garden walls, indoor room dividers, warm climates. Screen blocks serve as windows, garage, other buildings. The most common size of screen blocks, 4 by 12 by 12. Type of building blocks. Concrete blocks are available in widths of 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 10 inches. In heights, 4 to 8 inches. They are all 16 inches long. Blocks are made either heavyweight, lightweight, aggregates made solid as a whole. Most commonly used block is a lightweight hollow core stretch block, is 8 by 8 by 16, weighs 30 pounds. Half core, each end of the 2-3 internal cores matching corner block. Same except one end of the smooth. The manufacturer usually includes a proportional number of corner blocks ordered with regular blocks. Partition blocks are smooth at both ends and are half as thick as stretcher blocks. They're used form a half a wall, permanent insulation, heating, and air conditioned ducts from the dadu in the wall. Look at another internal wall, right angles to the non-leading bearing partition wall. Solid top bricks are 4 inches in solid concrete are used to support floors and joists. A jamb or wood joint block is used to side door windows, openings, and permit insulation wood frame members. Bullnose block provided with round corners. Double bullnose has 2 round corners. Half units with both ends smooth are made with openings and walls. Most common special size is the half height, made almost all units are needed where all walls height is not multiple of 8 inches. When planning a block structure, check the manufacturer catalog for other available types. Building blocks. Planning. When you do your project, all the dimensions, multiple nominal size, half-size block, reduced necessity block cutting. Choose the window, silver frame size, to take advantage of the modular size concrete block, standard 8 by 8 by 16. Both horizontal and vertical direction should be multiple L's to 8, and be sure the design construction are conform with local building codes. Block walls. Concrete walls are laid in much the same way as bricks, and 3 important differences. The concrete blocks must be dry when they are laid. Store in planks where they will not contact and ground. Protect them from the rain. If you have stop work, finish all the wall cover to keep the rain off. The mortar joint between the blocks are 3/8 of an inch. Unlike brick walls, long concrete walls are bonded continuously. They may have controlled joints at intervals about 20 feet to prevent cracking. Controlled joints are required to opening with the door, windows, junctions of the 2 walls. At junctions of wall columns, these joint runs are full height of the wall, must have the lateral support after mortar stiffens. Rake out the joint in the depth of 3/4 of an inch. The joint is later filled with an elastic caulking compound primed with the joint edge with the caulking manufacturer recommendation. Set of the first coat with horizontal layer blocks without mortar all the way around the footing. Make the adjustment necessary to determine the proper space between the blocks. Minimize the cutting using a 3/8 of an inch thick strip of wood between the blocks to ensure they are correctly spaced. Mark the chalk with the location of each joint of the footing. Make the mortar 1 part masonry cement, 3 parts sand. Because the blocks are heavy, the mortar should be stiffer than it would be for bricklaying. Avoid making your mortar too wet. Use only enough water to make it workable. The first course is laid with a full bed of mortar on the footing, and the web of blocks, as well as the face shells of the outer edge of the bedded in mortar. Lay the first corner block carefully with the thinner part of the web down. Place 1/2 inch mortar on the following and push the block in firmly in so you get the 1/3 of an inch mortar bed. Check the block crosswise, lengthwise, and spirit level. Use the trowel handle of the top of the back in a position to level it. Lay the block on the other section in the corner the same way. To lay the second block for each section, stand the block on end and butter the 2 projection ends with the mortar. Then put the block firmly into place. Level it with the trim excess mortar at the edge of the trowel. Lay the corner block in the second course. Then set the opposite corner in the same way. Fill in the first course, working in the corners towards the center, using line blocks pins to stretch the line between the corners of the distance so the greater the line sags. Position a block intermediate point to support it. As the work progresses, the mortar begins to stiffen and compress it with a joiner, 5/8 of an inch metal rod pipe served with the joiner over the concave joints of the 1/2 inch square can be used to make V joints. Beyond the joint tool leading up to the avoid the gouging of the mortar. When the bearing wall intersects, you will need to control joint. You must also tie the walls together with a 1/4 by 1 1/4 by 28 inch metal tie bar with a 2-inch right angle bend each end embedded with the end of the bar with the cores filled with mortar and concrete supported with metal lath. Space tie bars are not more than 4 feet apart vertically. Course, the support floor beam slabs must be solid masonry, solid top blocks, fill hollow cores, blocks with concrete mortar embedded in metal, layers embed joint and course below the support concrete mortar filling in the cores. Check the following building code if the mortar may be used in filling the cores. Garden walls need to be capped this way to keep out the water. The wall and the support of the frame roof and embedded 1/2 inch anchor bolts, 18 inch long in concrete or mortar cores of the top 2 courses, space bolts no more than 4 feet apart. Metal lath 2 courses down, support bolts, cavity. Walls require wall ties of 4 to 6 inches corresponding on corroding metal. Place them 32 inches apart every other course. The insulating property of the concrete walls can be increased filling the cores with granular insulation such as Versametal. To make concrete walls weather-tight, apply either 2 coats of Portland cement base paint or a 1/2 inch coat of mortar that is used for laying the blocks. For garden walls 4 to 6 feet high, use the 1/2 inch diameter reinforcing bars every 4 feet over the wall length. Bars must be long enough to extend 2 feet above the ground level, them halfway down with the thickness of the footing and the beds of the bars and footing. This fill the core with the concrete around the bars. Section 16, Guide to Better Planning.